What are subagents and when should you use them within your project? That's exactly what we're going to run through in today's video. So with that being said, let's jump into it. When we talk about agents and subagents, really what we're talking about is this. This is an agent. It's when AI is running directly in your terminal or project, doing things for you, also known as agentic development. So whenever you're using Gemini Pro, or in our case, Claude Code, directly within a project, this is our main coding agent. Now, a subagent is another instance of Claude Code running in the background doing something for us. But it's different in the sense that it runs in the background, so it acts like a black box. We can't supervise it or see what it's doing. We simply give it a set of instructions and we receive the output. Now, why would you want to do this? Well, when you're working with Claude Code or any agent, you have something called a context window. Think of it as a limit of information that you can send and receive to your agent. Right now, as of recording, there is a 200K context limit for Claude Code sessions. And whenever you load a project, a codebase, MCP tools, that takes up part of your context window. As you start to interact more and more with your agent, go back and forth, it saves history, it starts implementing features, it's going to use more and more and more of your context window. Where subagents are really handy is when you want to offload certain tasks that don't need supervision, where you just get the result, and you're able to do all of that without polluting your main context window. Let me show you a practical example. Right now, I use Claude Code in my creative YouTube process and my personal development journey. If I expand my Claude folder, I currently have two subagents. The first one creates a podcast episode personalized directly for me based on my own goals, aspirations, and daily journal entries that I've fed Claude Code. And the second is some competitor analysis, where it will go away and scrape the internet to find similar channels to mine, and it'll give me recommendations of what my next YouTube video should be. Now, one of the problems with searching the web or doing web scraping with Claude is it uses a ton of context. Depending on how long it runs, it can use anywhere between 30 to 80,000 tokens alone, which is why I've put it into a subagent. We'll start it up and I'll show you what I mean. So if we run /context, this is that context window I was telling you about just through loading. Like, we haven't done anything and we're already at 70 out of 200,000 tokens. If I did any competitor analysis right within this context window, we'd fast hit our limit. So instead, we can offload it to our subagent. And we can do that by giving it the command, the @ symbol, and tagging our subagent. Straight away, you'll notice that it's running because it's got our YouTube trend researcher with that green background to let us know the subagent is executing. Now, we're not going to get the detailed responses where we can cut it off halfway through and tell it to do something different. We're simply going to get the output, which in our case is exactly what we want. The subagent is finished, and like I said, we just get the final result. Here we have 5 really good relevant video ideas around home automation and home media setups with our expected views and why. But more importantly, we got all the information we wanted without polluting our context window. If we had run those web searches directly within our main agent, this context would be showing something like 130 to 150 tokens used. We can actually see evidence of that knowing that our subagent used 50,000 tokens. So that's why we do it. Now, another practical use case that so many people use this for is code reviews. When you're doing feature development, while you can tell your main agent to review its work based on certain principles, you get better results by getting a second agent, in our case a subagent, to do the work for you. So I'm going to show you exactly how to set up your very first subagent. I'm going to start with the blank project, and I'm just going to create a very basic Python app that, I don't know, adds two numbers together. Now that we have our very basic app, I'm going to run /init to start the Claude initialization process. It's kind of an optional step, but it's always just a good habit to initialize your projects whenever you're working with Claude Code. And now we're going to add our subagent. We can do this by typing /agents. We're going to create a new agent. Now you can create subagents at the project or at your account level. Personally, for me, I like to separate these out by projects. So we're going to go ahead and set one up for this one. We're going to generate with Claude, and we're going to describe exactly what this subagent is going to do. Now I've kept it quite vague. You can get a lot more specific when setting these up. Like you can tell it, I want you to follow these principles. I want you to use these certain libraries. I don't want you to do this or that. And it will adhere to whatever rules you put in place. You can then give it access to any tools that you have available within the project. So if you had MCP servers to connect to external applications, you can grant it access. In our case, I don't think we'll need any tools, so I'm just going to go next. You can then specify what model you would like to use. In our case, we're going to use Sonnet just because it's a great all-around model, but depending on what you're going to do, you might want to change this. If you're doing work that requires a bit more thinking, or you need the best answer possible, use Opus. Or if you're doing something extremely simple, consider using Haiku because it's a lot cheaper. For example, before filming this video, we were sitting at 10 to 20% of our session usage for the day. After running that YouTube competitor analysis subagent, because web searches take up so many tokens, we used like another 50% of our current session usage. What I really should do is update that subagent to use Sonnet, and then I won't blow through half of my session usage every time I go to run it. So we're going to select Sonnet, give it a color. I'm going to go red so it stands out. It'll then give you a prompt and we can just go ahead and save it. Now this will create a new folder with .claude, and in here we have our entire prompt. And this is everything it's going to do. Now you can obviously go in, manually edit this file if anything's wrong or missing. But what we're going to do is now perform a code review. And now we're going to call that agent. So we're going to say code reviewer. This is going to kick off our subagent and then give us some recommendations. And here we have our output. So we can see there's no error handling, input validation, or test cases. Pretty big issues. It then tells us how to improve, what to do. You kind of get the idea. So that's subagents. When you should use them, why you should use them, and how you can actually do it. Now, there are also things called skills and / commands. If you would like to learn about those, or you have any questions at all, let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, YouTube reckons you'll like this one too. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.